In an age of streaming music, these cassette and CD players are really museum pieces. And here in the Treme Petit Jazz Museum, they sit beside paintings, photographs, and instruments that trace the birth of New Orleans jazz. A story that museum founder Al Jackson says begins far from this neighborhood.
I stopped researching in 1300 BC. I thought that was far back enough.
Jackson opened this small museum in 2017, displaying his own collection of historic images and artifacts. His guided tour starts in ancient Egypt.
The harp, the oud, the flute, and the lyre were birthed in Africa, not in Europe.
From Africa, he follows the music through the revolution in Saint Domingue, the Dominican Republic, and Cuba, a blending of cultures long before jazz reached New Orleans.
Picking up bolero, rumba, guaguancó.
A couple of visitors from North Carolina are introduced to the rhythms.
Free people of color ballroom dancing in the Théâtre d'Orléans, or the Orleans Theater. Today is known as the Bourbon Orleans Hotel.
Then came the Civil War and brass bands.
Free men of color, as well as recently freed enslaved Africans, to become soldiers. And the Prussians, known as Germans, taught them to play European brass band instruments, military marching bands. Today we call them second-line bands.
So the Prussian military music transitions into a New Orleans second line?
Exactly. With the sashaying of African footbeats from the west coast of Africa. Peanut butter and jelly, Creole gumbo.
Jackson's research digs deep. Baptismal records, lost documents, and contracts from the old Negro Musicians Union Hall.
Fats Domino, Little Richard, Huey Smith and the Clowns, Professor Longhair. And it still is amazing that we're able to find and preserve those documents for posterity.
New Orleans prides itself in calling itself the birthplace of jazz. You agree with that?
I agree with that, because it was born in New Orleans. But had it not been for the revolution of Saint-Domingue, it would not have happened.
For Jackson, the birth of jazz was a slow evolution.
How people from 3,000 years ago found a way to make friends, become friendly, entertain each other, humor each other, and allow the sound of music to grow. And today we enjoy it as jazz.
That story can be experienced at this Petit Jazz Museum in the neighborhood that was home to some of those musical pioneers.